Hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm Alex Perry, and today I'm going to talk to you about how you can create a minimal setup for your iPhone to help you be super productive going into 2021. Let's get to it. So if you're anything like me at all whatsoever, you use your phone way too much. Between the constant use of social media like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Alright, let's face it, maybe not Facebook as much, but I am on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube all the time. I feel like throughout my day, I'm just constantly gravitating towards those apps when I'm supposed to be doing a lot of other things. So these apps are complete productivity killers for me. I'm just always checking Twitter, always checking Instagram, always trying to stay up to date with what's going on. So this just really gets in the way of me having a productive day. So I felt like going into the new year, as we're winding down this crazy year we call 2020, I realized now is time to start changing things up on my phone to make my experience a lot easier, make it way less distracting for myself, as well as help me be more productive. So as I was playing around with different setups for my phone, I came across a great video by the ever so awesome Canoopsy, where he basically removed almost everything from his home screen on his phone. I had already been playing around with a similar setup to this when I saw this video, and that just kind of gave me the extra push to make a drastic change. So I didn't necessarily remove absolutely everything like he did. I believe he took out like everything like within reach. Anything related to social media is like nowhere accessible off his main screen or with an easy swipeable action. So that's where my setup differs from his. So I've never really been one to put apps in a bunch of folders. I just really didn't like the whole folder look. I didn't like having all these different folders set up on my home screen, so I just never really organized stuff that way. So more recently, when iOS 14 came out, I decided to hide all of my other pages except for my main homepage. So I put what I thought were my absolute essential apps on here. But as you can see, a lot of these things are social media related. That's when I realized those are not essential, so I started moving those completely out of there. So a good place to start is the little bottom tray that is on every screen of your iPhone when you're on the main screen. I thought, what are some of the most common things that I do frequently use? So number one is obviously the phone. I do make a lot of phone calls, so having the phone app directly on that bottom bar was super important for me. Next is just the good old-fashioned messages app. Once again, being in contact with friends, family, people I'm doing work with, that's all very important, so I do message a lot. So I decided to have the Messages app as well as WhatsApp beside each other on this bottom bar. And finally, emailing is the next biggest thing as well. I do email all the time. I email clients, I email sponsors and partners, so email is another huge part of my business, so that was also very important to have on the bottom bar. Those have been on my bottom taskbar, if you want to call it that, I'd say for years. So that bottom setup hasn't really changed for me in a very long time. So I figured those must stay there. And I really liked Canoopsy's idea of having 4 main accessible apps in the bottom right-hand side of the screen. So these would be the next most important apps that I'm always using as well. So thinking on the front of productivity, I realized having Notion and Onenote were 2 key things for me here. I've more recently started using Notion, and I will be doing a full video on Notion and why it's important to use to manage your business, whether it's a freelance business, whether you're doing video production, photography, graphic design, whatever it is, or even just managing and running a YouTube channel. Notion is a great tool to stay organized, to plan things, and to just really help you be productive. And the other app that I use a lot with it is OneNote. I use the note-taking aspect of OneNote all the time. So when I use my iPad with my pencil, I'm just constantly writing notes. I have a bunch of different notebooks between my personal life and my work life. So using OneNote with Notion is a great way to be productive for work. So having those 2 apps on the bottom of this little square that I'm creating here was going to be super important for me. Then I figured the internet browser is something that I use quite frequently as well. Whether it is for work or for personal use, it's something that I use all the time, so I don't want to have to search for it or swipe over to a different page to find the internet browser. So that was definitely one to keep there as well. And finally, the Photos app is one that I use all the time as well. I'm always posting content to social media, and I'm always transferring photos from my computer or my iPad to my phone. So having quick access to my photos was also very important for me. So I figured those were the 4 main apps that I would keep in this bottom right-hand grid or square that I've created here, so that they can be very accessible with just a quick movement on my thumb right here. I don't have to stretch across the screen, I don't have to go too far up. It's just right here where I need it, very easy to access. And as much as I liked the very minimal look by having only a few icons on there, I just wanted to kind of fill out the bottom section of the screen. I do like having a quick view of the calendar, even though it doesn't show anything on it, accessible off my main screen as well. So I decided to have this Widgetsmith calendar in the bottom left-hand side by utilizing the small widget feature. And also, with a quick swipe up with my thumb, I now have access to my Todoist list. So Todoist is a to-do list app, which I helped create a schedule for myself. So this helps me stay on task. So I basically set up a schedule for every day of the week, and I get alerts by the hour of what I should be doing at that time. Now, my schedule can obviously be flexible, so this is just a guideline to help keep me on the right track, but this is a very, very useful app that really helps me stay productive. So the biggest reason I use the calendar as the main one there is because it fits in with the whole black and white look of the icons I've created. Having the Todoist list there first is gray and white, and it doesn't fully fit in with the look, so that's just a little bit of OCD on my part where I want it to look uniform. But nonetheless, it's still very easy to just swipe that up or down and switch between my list and my calendar. I also do like being able to see the date and day of the week fairly large because I'm always forgetting what day it is. I feel like I never know what day it is anymore. So having that right on my home screen, right on my main screen, easily to see, I think is very, very helpful. So I also used a widget from Widgetsmith to create this little date, day of the week section at the top of my screen. And you might be wondering how I created this empty space here on my phone. Because in iOS, that's not possible to do that. You have to keep things starting from the top of the screen, working its way down. So I actually downloaded an app called Widget, which was recommended by Noopsy. So that basically allows you to create these blank empty spaces or icons, or widgets if you want to call them, that you can easily lay out on your home screen. So basically it utilizes your wallpaper, it takes a screenshot of the screen, and it lays out portions of your wallpaper to be created as backgrounds for these empty or blank widgets. So you can place them wherever you like to create any kind of layout that you want. So if you wanted just a few icons in the middle of the screen, you can put an empty widget box at the top and at the bottom of the screen. So you can get really creative with this, you can do whatever you like. So I just figured for my use, I just wanted to have, once again, the day of the week and the dates at the top of the screen, empty space, and then I wanted to have my easily accessible apps on the bottom right corner, as well as this little calendar widget. So unlike Noopsy, who didn't want to really have access to his social media apps, like at all whatsoever, I still want to have access to them, just not want to see them on the main home screen all the time. If they're on my main home screen, I'm more likely to notice that there's notification badges on them, so I'm going to always want to be going into it, checking it out. So having them off screen was important for me. But I also didn't want to have a second page of apps or folders or anything like that. I liked having this minimal setup where if I just swipe over, the app library opens up. So that's just something built into iOS 14 right now. So I don't have any other pages. I've decided to hide all my other pages because, like I said, I just want to keep it simple, minimal, and not distracting. But when I swipe over the opposite way, that's where the widget center, shortcut center, I have no idea what Apple calls it. But when you swipe over, that's where you can lay out a bunch of widgets, shortcuts, whatever it is that you need there to be to make things easier for you to access. So that's where I decided to set up some extra things. So I decided to start off with my battery indicator at the top. So it shows my phone's battery percentage, my Apple Watch, and if I have anything else connected to it, like my AirPods, the battery levels all show there very easily and quickly. Then I created these few shortcuts right here to access some of the main apps that I want. So typically you can't just put actual apps in here. The apps you want to use have to have widget support. So Instagram and Twitter and even YouTube actually don't have their own widget support right now. So I decided to create a shortcut that opens up the Instagram app and place that in this side widget bar. So the moment I click on the Instagram icon here, it just opens up Instagram for me. So I know this is still easy access to social media and to Instagram, for example, but once again, I don't see anything like notification badges on there, so I don't know if I have any DMs, I don't know if I have any activity, so it's just there for ease of access. So I don't have to swipe down from the top, search for Instagram, or go to the app library to find the app and open it that way. So it's just an easy way to still access it without seeing it off the main screen. So that's also why I put Twitter here as well. I do still frequently use those. I do communicate with people on Twitter. I do like to keep up with what people are doing and working on. So having Instagram and Twitter are still important to be accessible, just not off the main screen. Then I created a shortcut to go directly to my YouTube channel. So instead of just opening up the YouTube app, where I'll be enticed to start looking at other people's content, start watching other videos, which would ultimately distract me. That's just to go straight to my channel if I want to have easy access to any of my videos for reference, if I want to share it, or just to quickly see what's going on my channel. But I can also obviously use this to just open up YouTube. So once I open it, it goes to my channel, and then from there, I can just hit the home button to still browse on YouTube. So it's still an easy way of accessing YouTube without it being necessarily the full out YouTube icon on my main screen. And finally, in relation to these social media apps, I've got the YouTube Studio shortcut here as well. So I do use this app quite frequently. I do check in on comments, I do check in on the analytics, my YouTube videos, and YouTube channel. So having this accessible is still, once again, important, but like all the other social media apps here, not important enough to be on my main home screen. These things are all distracting, and the point of this is to be less distracted and to be more productive so we can start 2020 off on the right foot. And a few other good shortcuts or widgets I have here is one to connect my AirPods. I do have the first gen AirPods. They don't automatically connect when I do switch devices. So for me, when I plug them in, if they were paired to my iPad or a computer, for example, I can just click on that button right there, connect AirPods, and it automatically connects. I also set up a shortcut for my menu for the week. So in my personal life, I do meal plan. My wife and I do create a plan for the week, which just makes things easier. She's a teacher and I'm constantly working on videos and whatnot. So we have a busy schedule, busy lives. So having a meal plan definitely helps keep us on track, and we know exactly what we're doing for dinner and even lunch and breakfast every single day of the week. So I do use Notion to plan out our meals. So I just have this quick access here where I can tap it, open it up, and it goes right into that part on Notion. Then below that, I do have a Spotify widget as well. So this just shows anything recently that I played, whether it's albums, whether it's playlists, that all shows right there. So you can just quickly, easily tap on one of those. You more likely want to listen to those again if they're your frequently played items. So it's just a quick way to get into Spotify, into things that I want to listen to. I do also have a quick Google search widget here as well. Sometimes I don't want to open up Safari. I don't want to have to go into Google and search that way. So just having this on the sidebar here is very quick and easy as well. I do have the News Plus, is it called, widget for top stories. So these are stories or topics that I am following. It just shows a few top ones right here. So if I do want to check the news throughout the day, it's easily accessible. And finally, I am an NBA fan. I love Toronto Raptors. So I have an app for The Score, which is just a sports app where I've got some sports news and I can check the scores of the game very easily without having to open up the app. And once again, be distracted. These are just quick ways of checking things, but if I just have to go into the app all the time for these things, that's when you're more likely to be distracted and just start checking more things out and spend more time there. So once again, as I keep saying, all of this is to help us focus more on what we should be doing instead of being distracted by social media or other distracting things. Also, to tie this whole thing in together, because I do like the whole minimal look, I did create my own set of icons that I am using on my phone currently right now. I like the whole black and white look. I like the whole sleek minimal look. As you can notice, I don't have the app names for my icons as well. You only can't remove the name of apps or widgets, but on your actual app icons, if you're creating shortcuts for them to create these custom icons, you don't have to have a name there. So it just keeps it very clean, very minimal, and hopefully Apple does fix this going forward, where you can also remove the name of the widgets. So if you are interested in checking out this icon pack right here for purchase, you can just head on down to the link below and check it out. And I believe that's it. I feel like this setup right here, I've been using it for about a week or so, and so far it's been, I don't know, it's just been great. I've been feeling like I'm not as distracted. I'm not as inclined to be checking social media all the time. I'm not always going into Instagram or Twitter. So this has really been a huge help with keeping me focused, keeping me on task, and not distracting me. So ultimately, this makes me more productive. So all in all, I'm glad I decided to make a change, make my phone more minimal, make it less distracting, to ultimately make me more successful and help me be productive going into this new year. And there you have it. That's how to create a minimal setup for your iPhone going into 2021 to help you be super productive. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button down below, and also drop me a comment letting me know what you thought. Is this something you're interested in doing for yourself? Do you want to create a minimal look for your phone to help you be more productive? Do you have any other tips and tricks that'll help you be productive going into the new year? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Also, while you're at it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell notification icon to get notified every single time I drop new videos like this one. There's lots more cool stuff coming your way, so you're going to want to stay tuned. As always, I'm Alex Perry, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.